Hello, I am Wallas, the Polish toy guy. Welcome to my new video. Kickstarter is an interesting place for raising funds for all kinds of projects. This platform helped giving birth to coolers, games, electronic gear, but also toys, and today I want to show you one of them. This is Modarri, a brand of toy cars created by three minds from the American company ThoughtFull Toys that aims to combine all of our most beloved aspects of toy vehicles into one product. At this point, I want to thank the official distributor of Modarri in Poland, Kolorowe Baloniki, for sending me a sample set of these toys to review. To be more precise, they sent me a free pack containing three types of these cars: the Street Use S1, the Racetrack T1 and Off-Road X1. All of them are 11 cm long and 6 wide, so they fill your hands up a lot more than an average Matchbox or Hot Wheels toy. They are also significantly heavier at around 100 grams each. This is a result of not only their size but also the plastic, rubber and die-cast metal they are made of. Overall, they look fairly solid, and while I don't intend to make actual durability tests here, it's unlikely they will fall apart too easily, and I will expand on that thought a bit later. For now, let's talk about the visual side, which I do like. When I first saw these cars, I thought about a combination of some of the more futuristic Hot Wheels toys and the skeleton-like Lego Technic vehicles, and I don't have even the slightest problem with such a stylistic choice. Even from afar, each of these toys looks completely different, thanks to both heavily diversified sculpt of their various parts, including the wheel rims, and distinct color palettes. Such individuality means it's easy to pick your own favorite, and for me, without a doubt, that would be the S1 type, whose stylish black and blue body grew onto me the moment I took it out of the box. My second place goes to X1 for its eye-catching burning red frame. I think T1 will also find its supporters, but to me it looks a bit more common, even if it's hard to ignore a rim pattern based on honeycomb. So yes, visually speaking, Modarri cars passed the test, and good looks is just the beginning of what they have to offer. Further interesting features fall under the mechanical category, and the first is a fully functional independent suspension for each wheel, which allows the cars to drive over smaller obstacles without stopping. If the Challenger is bigger though, it can be simply bypassed. The front suspension is also equipped with a nicely designed steering mechanism that reacts to tilting the toys to the sides, and you literally achieve that with a single finger that you place in the appropriately sculpted driver's seat. I remember that as a kid I enjoyed turning my vehicles using their steering wheels or roof-mounted knobs, but doing it with my index finger is a welcomed surprise for my inner child. This method works unexpectedly well, and even making a full circle turn in one fluid motion is an easy task, no doubt in part due to the rubber tires and their increased surface grip. Also, if we buy the free pack like this one, we will get an additional set of 8 rubber cones to test our skills on our self-defined tracks. I'm keeping mine in a drawer though, they remind me of my driver's training too much. But Modarri can do even more, and now we will tackle their most important name-earning feature. Each of the vehicles you see can be disassembled into 12 components: the undercarriage frame, front and rear suspension, 4 wheels, the cockpit floor, the seat for our finger, inner and outer body parts, and the die-cast body frame. While we are here, let's take a better look at the suspension, which has an eye-pleasing design to it. It is made of many parts connected by metal pins, and only after disconnection one can fully appreciate their construction, especially the front one. Now we can turn our cars back into solid structures, and let me tell you, this involves lots of good fun. When we have just one car to work with, it's an interesting experience, but with 2 or more, true mirth ensues, especially that the assembly itself is a simple and intuitive process. Each Modarri car is held together by 9 screws, which we drive in using dedicated and included screwdrivers that have free spinning handle tips so that the tools can be rotated without fully releasing them from our grip. What's even better, the screws can't be lost as they are permanently built into their respective parts. This has to be one of the best design choices I encountered in this set. Another good move was adding arrows pointing towards the vehicle's front to the part sculptures, so even without the manual we can tell how we should put the pieces together. and if the set piece belongs to a specified official configuration, its symbol will also be visible somewhere on its surface. According to the manufacturer, using the 36 parts of the Modarri system present in this set, we will be able to get 35,000 different combinations. I can't say if that's accurate, as last time I could calculate this kind of thing was in high school, but I limited myself mainly to working with the body parts. Most users will probably feel content with just that, as these pieces are the most visible and switching them brings the most interesting results. Even swapping out just one of them can significantly alter the appearance of the whole car, and every time I do it, my inner child nods in approval. What's curious, we don't have to attach the whole body to the undercarriage frame, and we can freely leave out the pieces we don't need for our happiness, though I do recommend leaving the body frame and its upper screws alone. Unless your car is just for show and not for picking up. The customization can also be expanded by using stickers that we get in the bundle, though that's pretty much a single-time piece of tuning. But if the prospect of irreversible modifications doesn't scare you, why not go one step beyond and paint your car to create a truly one-of-its-kind custom vehicle? So, as you can see, I can say a lot of good things about Modarri, but there are also a few things that raised my concern. To begin with, unlike the rest of the assembly process, working with the wheels can be difficult and sometimes outright frustrating. They are the only components with connection threads on moving pieces, which makes it very tricky to angle them correctly so that the screws go all the way in. If we succeed, that's wonderful, but if not, the wheels will flop around in their wells and that can hinder the fluid movement of the car. This connects to my second concern. The suspension modules should be made entirely out of die-cast in order to better withstand the forces they are exposed to during the assembly. Now, when they are mainly plastic, I fear one day they will shatter on me while I'm fighting with the proper wheel attachment. The area around the wheels is problematic for one more reason that I discovered only while already taking pictures for this review. Do you remember how I only used X1 to demonstrate the wheel turning function? That's because in my copies of S1 and T1, it's not working all that well. The fault lies in the edges of the wheel wells that end up too close to the tires, so the latter don't have enough room to fully swing out without bumping into them. This results in worse turning angles and affects the overall movement fluidness, because the friction between the tire and the wheel simply slows our cars down. My final complaint can be considered by some of you optional, as what I'm about to say might be just the case of my personal preferences. While each car is composed of 12 separate pieces, my main source of fun was tinkering with just the 4 making up the body. I usually leave the remaining 8 alone with no need of reconfiguring them. For the wheels, that's because I didn't want to disconnect them more often than absolutely necessary out of fear of another botched up assembly, even if they can affect the appearance of the finalized vehicle. The suspension and cockpit floor, aside from colors, are identical in all 3 cars from the set, and they aren't all that visible. The seats are slightly easier to spot, but they too differ only in color, which is obscured from sight by our own fingers most of the time. That is why I believe these last 4 elements are of true swapping interest only to people who are seeking color perfection in their self-customized creations. To sum it all up, as a whole, the Modarri toy line has a great potential, as it might be tricky to find other toy cars on the market that incorporate working suspension, manual control with a very intuitive steering, and a sophisticated tuning and personalization system. I do think, however, that these cars would gain a lot from improved design of the wheels and their surroundings, as well as a more diversified sculpture among the internal parts of the cars. Modarri are without a doubt a joy to look at, no matter the car type, but their playability in functional terms can vary due to the aforementioned issues, which in my opinion affect the off-road X1 the least. With that said, I hope ThoughtFull Toys will show us a second improved generation of the parts I discussed soon. With them, Modarri will no longer be just an interesting toy line with great potential. It will become a brilliant toy line. And that's all for this video review. I will be back with the next one soon. And until then, stay well.